for the season. No messing around today. Send out the big guns. Colton and Razzer up against J Monte and B-Rad.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in this room thought it was going to be otherwise. Now, it is a thing to pull a swerve on your opponents, but if it's playoffs, you got to put up your best duos, and these by far are Tribe and Complexity's best.
Both these duos hit 7 wins, set wins overall in 2v2 on the season. Of course, went in opposite directions. J Monte and B-Rad trading wins and losses, whereas Colton and Razzer went on an insane run and then lost 2 at the back end. And that Giant Skeleton getting very, very close to tower, not quite close enough for that death damage. You can see J Monte and B-Rad feeling a little lucky about that one.
Very relieved. And just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, it was 7 wins in a row, 7 2v2 set wins in a row by Colton and Razzer. And then they started losing sets and losing matches just back to back to back. 3 in a row to SK, Immortals, and Fnatic, who are all now ranked above them here in playoffs.
Colton and Razzer going to RG. They are 3-1 this season with double Royal Giant.
Inferno Tower plays very nicely with the coupling with that Ice Spirit, going to mitigate all of the damage.
First 90 seconds of our playoffs away, and at the moment, Colton and Razzer holding a lead, seemingly have corrected some of the small challenges they had at the end of the season.
Yeah, and one thing to kind of follow as the day moves on is that, you know, teams are going to obviously want to be playing the decks that they're best with early so that they can advance, but then at the same time, you want to be able to keep those opponents at the end of the day guessing what you might be running. So it's a very interesting position that we haven't really experienced before.
We'll see how deep those deck pools actually run in 2v2. There's been kind of a central meta of Graveyard, Royal Giant, Ram Rider, Lava Hound, and a little bit of Miner mixed in. Final minute of regulation, and still things holding about the same.
Yeah, Colton and Razzer here off to a great start. That Royal Giant does need to get NATO'd back, but still should, nope, does not get a shot in.
Giant Skeleton in front of the Royal Giant. Inferno Tower does come down. Very nice kite with the Ice Golem.
Yeah, and with that lightning down, you see the immediate NATO from Complexity. However, the Royal Giant does get one more shot in, so despite being ready for it, Tribe still gets away with one.
Ice Golem kind of seemed like it might have, in some ways, forced the lightning to be out a little earlier than anticipated, potentially. Royal Giant for Complexity, making its way to the tower, uncontested practically.
Yeah, and a very nice kite with the Ice Golem once again by Complexity. A few shots in from that Royal Giant, and they're in the lead.
Giant Skeleton won't get much in the way of death damage, and now it's the Giant Skeleton of Tribe heading towards the tower, trying to keep it distracted. Guards do come down. High Inferno Tower just picks up that Royal Giant.
Yeah, not able to get on the Princess Tower, but it doesn't matter right now. We have an RG that is completely uncontested other than a Mega Minion.
And here we go. Tribe loading up again, left-hand lane. Complexity loads up on the right-hand side.
Now, who overcommitted here? Because Tribe has a Royal Giant healthy on the tower. Complexity, not a lot to defend.
Log pushes back. Giant Snowball to slow down. Does get one more shot off. That could have been a lot worse there, Andrew.
Yeah, Complexity's doing a great job of switching up lanes, as is Tribe. Now, Complexity just ahead by about 51 HP.
Giant Skeleton, Royal Giant again. This time, Tribe does get down there. Inferno Tower. Earthquake comes in, chunking away a little bit. Will that Tornado combination be enough to stop the Royal Giant from getting on tower? It might get one shot. Yes, it does.
Yeah, a big time shot in. And you have to imagine Colton's last card is a spell, probably a large spell.
Royal Giant on the top, making this race for the tower. Giant Snowball comes in on both directions. That's going to
do it, yeah. Colton and Razzer getting away with one there. It seemed like B-Rad and J Monte had really kind of put the pressure on. They were having a hard time keeping up, but Colton and Razzer kept changing lanes and catching Tribe, just thirsting for Elixir defensively.
So one more game win here for Complexity. Colton finished the season 7-3 on sets. Razzer 7-4. J Monte and B-Rad also went 7-3 on sets, but Tribe overall, one of the few teams to hit 8 set wins with a very nice 2v2 victory from Tommy and Nitram early in the season.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to see Tommy just playing King of the Hill, 1v1, 2v2. It doesn't seem like there's a lot he cannot do when it comes to Clash Royale.
Yeah, but I've heard not a good shuffleboard player. Ram Rider again coming out this time for Tribe. This is a deck they have not played a lot this season. In fact, going 0-3, so maybe a bit of a juke here, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, the Ram Rider being used a lot early on, kind of got varied up when we saw more and more Royal Giant, which is always popular, but Lava Hound and Graveyard specifically have really, really increased their appearances here at CRL West in the last few weeks.
So when these two squads met during the regular season, these 2v2 duos did not end up going head-to-head. In fact, it was that Nitram Tommy facing off against Razzer and Vulcan.
And you understand why they wanted to put Vulcan in that 2v2 set, kind of change things up, maybe make people more available in King of the Hill in 1v1, but you know, they didn't get the results they wanted out of it, and Colton and Razzer have been together for so long, it just seems wrong to break them up at this point. And that's massive hit.
That's a right Royal Giant push, first 90 seconds down, Complexity out to a big lead.
Yeah, so we'll see if this freeze actually capitalizes for Tribe, but they're committing a lot of elixir to this push.
Wow. The Musketeer kind of saves that push in the end with all that commitment. Ram Rider doesn't connect, but her big gun takes that left-hand down down to 1382. We are heading into double elixir time. Complexity ahead by a few hundred HP.
Yeah, they have to make sure they remedy that defense next time. They were so focused on the Ram Rider that they kind of ignored or neglected that Musketeer, and as you said, she did a lot of work on that tower, almost evening things up to which seemed like Complexity had already started to run away with this game.
A lot of poison value here on the left-hand side for Tribe, trying to find some way to sneak through. They do even the standings a little bit here on HP, but take a look at this, needing to use that defensive freeze against the Royal Giant.
Yeah, and a perfectly timed Royal Giant Lumberjack from Complexity to try to get away from that Giant Skeleton Bomb and in on the tower. They still get a shot away, so that shot will do it. It is within spell cycle range now between Earthquake, Poison, Snowball, and Log.
Tribe needs to sell out if they can have any hope of stealing this game back. Ram Rider comes in. Do they have the spells to support? Giant Snowball trying to make some room.
A Log needs to come down.
Ram Rider does barely connect. Freeze comes in, but she goes down.
Yeah, and that now is a huge overcommit. Both the poisons come down, and that is gonna do it. Complexity sweeps